Hey guys, it's Destry. Welcome back to my yard. I hope that you're having a great day. Today we are going to be talking about planting milkweed. Did you know it's now in the fall time to plant milkweed for next spring? Let me tell you a little bit about it. So today I'm going to be planting up some milkweed seeds, but before I do that, I want to show you an actual milkweed plant. So this is a showy milkweed that I picked up at my local garden center. I've had trouble finding milkweed locally here near me, but I was really excited when I found this one. So it says, this special Northwest native is larval host for the monarch butterfly, of course. Enjoy watching the stunning caterpillars transform into chrysalis, fragrant starry pink flower cluster bloom above smooth green oval leaves. So this one takes sun. It is zone 3 to -40 so down to zone 3. Drought tolerant and tolerates moist soil. So this is what it will bloom to look like. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm so excited. And this is the actual plant. So here is what this particular variety of showy milkweed looks like. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? I wish that you guys could feel the leaves. They're really, really soft. They always reminds me of like a lamb's ear or something. They're very, very soft. This one I'm going to put in the ground today, as well as some of the seeds that I picked up. So let me show you those, which I actually just grabbed off Amazon. So let me show you the seeds that I got. So here are two of the other types of milkweed. Now these came from Amazon in actually a 4-pack. Unfortunately, my dogs got a hold of the other 2 packets and have torn them apart, and the seeds are who knows where. So this is what I have left. Oh, these Aussie doodles. Anyway, this one is a milkweed, another showy milkweed here. This one says 1/8 of an inch deep, 10 to 40 days germination. You can start it indoors, but the interesting thing is that these seeds require what's called cold stratification. So cold stratification is required. This will occur naturally if you plant the seeds in the fall. If started indoors, put your milkweed seeds in a damp paper towel, blah, 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 blah. So same with this one. If you sow the seeds in the fall, this one here is a rose variety. So this is really pretty. If you sow the seeds in the fall, I'm just going to sow them in the ground. I'm going to try to look for the packet that my dog tore up. I think I might have a few left in that packet. They will do their cold stratification, and then in the spring they will do what they need to do, which is to sprout and come up in the spring. So I have a specific spot in my yard that I'm going to be planting all this milkweed. It's kind of a spot where like not much is going on over there, and so I can just scatter the seeds and not be too worried about like planting in rows or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get to that and get these milkweed in the ground so that hopefully next spring I can have even more butterflies in my yard and more pollinators. All right, that went very quickly. I got the one milkweed plant in the ground and I sprinkled the rest of the seeds and kind of just scratched them in. Crossing my fingers that it'll work and I'll get some milkweed next spring. So my next item of business today is to get some more bulbs planted. So I still have a whole bag of daffodils. I still have 4 irises and some alliums. So I'm going to be working on my side yard and in my front yard to try to get some of these in the ground. I'm also going to be planting some up in some pots. So those of you that are new to gardening or yardening, in the winter, at least here where we do get some freeze, you want to bring all your terracotta pots or clay pots in. So you want to have them protected so they don't crack. Believe me, I have learned the hard way. So I have already put away most of my terracotta pots that were empty. And I have some that still have plants in them, but I'll be pulling those out and storing those for the winter. But I can leave out any plastic pots. So what I usually like to do is plant some bulbs in plastic pots, and I just leave them outside all winter. That way they go through that cold stratification, nature takes its course, and then next spring I get some beautiful blooms in containers. Now I can move those containers to my front steps. That's usually what I do, or my front entry. And that way it looks like, oh wow, she planted up all these bulbs or went to the nursery, but really I planted them now in the fall for next spring. So I'm going to get some in the ground, some in some plastic pots so that I am ready for a beautiful show next spring. So I'm going to get to work on that next. All right, so here's what I ended up with. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, let's see, 4 of them are matching. These 2 are not, but whatever, it's what I had. So I did the daffodils in all of those. So it'll be this mix here, so beautiful. So if you can just imagine this in the spring. Now, I'm not going to do anything with these. I'm going to leave them out all winter. It is important that your pots have some drainage. So that is one thing I would just check on them, make sure they're not getting too wet and soggy because your bulbs can rot. So as long as things are getting good drainage, if I notice that it seems like they're getting too wet, then I will probably move them over here underneath like the eave of my house. So they're still outside, but they're not getting maybe quite as much moisture. But as long as your pots have good drainage, my recommendation is if they're plastic pots, throw some bulbs in them, and next spring you'll be so happy that you did. All right, so these are the bulbs I have left. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these in the ground. There's quite a few alliums. I don't have many daffodils left, so I'm going to head out to my front garden area and try to get some of these planted up in the ground. So I'm going to head there next. right, so I'm figuring out placement for the alliums. So I've got 2 here. You can see I'm trying to do them in like pairs of 2. I've got 2 right here, 2 here. I might move these. I feel like they might not get enough sun. So I've got 2 there. And then further along my swoop here in the front, I thought, well, I want to bring some down in this area too. So I've got 2, 2, 2. I've got 3. And then 2 more over here, and then 2 more here. So kind of like spread out. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I like group them closer together? I thought it'd be cool to have them kind of like scattered throughout this edge in the front here. Kind of depends on the holes. When I start digging, if the holes are super hard to dig, then I might rearrange things. But anyway, hoping that those alliums will look cool, those big purple globe bulbs throughout this area. So I'm going to get them in the ground. All right, the last of my bulbs are the last of the daffodils. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them left. Some of them have like 2, you know, like stems that are going to come out. So that's exciting. They'll be like doubles. Anyway, I know I already have some daffodils right up here by my front entry. So I'm going to have to be really careful when I dig. That's the one thing about planting bulbs. If you've planted them the year before, it's hard to remember exactly where they're at in the ground. But I'm going to do my best not to mess up the bulbs that are already there and add to the daffodils that are up here. So let's get to it. Whew, I'm hot. I'm going to take this off. Whew, it's definitely one of those fall days that's like, seems chillier, but then when you start moving around in the yard, in the garden, you're like starting to get warmed up real quick. Anyway, I feel really great about what I got done today. I've only been out here about 45 minutes, so not very long. I didn't have very long today to get a few things done. So I got all the rest of my Costco bulbs planted, some in containers, some in the front. I got my alliums in the front, which I'm super excited about. Daffodils in containers, which will be pretty in the spring. What else did I get done? Oh, I got my milkweed planted in the ground, my plant, and then I seeded some milkweed just to see. Hopefully we'll get a little milkweed patch over there for the monarchs. And yeah, I guess that's about it. But it feels great to get that stuff done. I'm not totally done with planting bulbs for the season. I have an order coming of all tulips. So they're actually coming from in a place up in north of me here in Oregon. They have something called the Wooden Shoe Tulip Festival. Hard to say with braces. And my family and I went. I'll try to find some pictures of that event. It was so much fun. We had such a great time. They had some rides, food, and of course, beautiful tulips. Well, you can't buy the bulbs there right then because that's when the show is. In their tulip fields, and then they have to, you know, die back, and then they dig the bulbs up, and then they sell them. And now it's time to ship them to me. So even though I purchased them way in the spring when I was very excited, it's almost like I kind of forgot about it. And then I got an email saying that I was going to get my bulbs. So anyway, very excited about my tulip bulbs. So more on that to come. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in my yard today and watching this video. If you liked it, if you could give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with a friend. I would certainly appreciate it. I hope that you get a chance to get out in your yard today. It's a fun place to be. And if you need me, I'll be hanging out in the yard. I'll see you guys later. Bye.